ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to THS Wrestling, and this is the NXT Takeover Vengeance Day recap show. Yes, Pingo isn't here. I am manning the ship today, and I am joined by the great Justin,
What's
aka the Wrestling Classic Baby. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. It's been a week. It's snowing here, so
It's
just been stuck inside. Yeah, it's just like it's snowing for like the last 2 days, and like it's actually sticking. So it's been good, man. It's been getting work done inside. How about you, man?
Oh man, living a dream, brother. Living a dream on this lovely day of Valentine's, aka Vengeance Day, the alternative to Valentine's Day, as WWE likes to call it. Shout out Matthew. Always can count on you, man. Nick, happy Sunday. It is a great Sunday. And what an ending to the show that we just had. We definitely got to get into it and talk everything about it. We're waiting for Parker. Parker should be hopping on anytime soon. But just the overall, I want people to drop in their grades into the chats, A through F or A through AEW later, whatever you choose to put into the chat. We want to see what you graded it. But let's start off with the Wrestling Classic. What did you give it, man?
I don't know. Like the thing with NXT takeovers, well, first thing first, it kind of didn't feel like a takeover at first. But I will say that like the quality of matches, like they never disappoint. So everything was good in that sense. It could have been a boring show if the ending didn't end the way it did. So I would go with maybe like a B.
A B.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying the ending actually pumped it up for you.
If there wasn't that ending, it'd probably be like a C+, to be honest. But I think it's a personal thing because I just haven't been that invested in the NXT product, you know?
See, I think that's what it's really that's what we're gonna get out a lot. I think they, like you said, the matches are always top tier. They don't disappoint. And if we're going through a letter grade, I'm gonna have to give it a solid B as well. But I think it could have been an A if I would have been more invested. And I think that's the thing with all these matches. They were great. And the only really match that I was really invested in was the women's tag team Dusty match and who was going to win. I felt like that was, to me, that had the most intrigue coming in. But yes, the ending, guys, I know everybody's talking about the ending, but before we get to the ending, we gotta bring in, I wish this was the Royal Rumble episode so we could do a countdown to bring him in, but it's not. I want to bring in Johnny Parker, aka Mr. Dope Kicks himself. Sir, how are you, brother? You may have yourself muted because you're just talking Undisputed Era. There may not be any more Undisputed Era. You got yourself muted over there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like that's why I had to put the shirt on real quick. After I saw that, I was like, well, let me go and buy some more merch off WWE Shop tonight.
And I didn't want to put on the Undisputed Era jacket. I wanted to put on the Adam Cole jacket.
So we're gonna, you know what? Let's just start from the end, guys. Let's just start from the end, the last seconds of the show. I want to know, Justin, since you put on your Bebe jacket, where does Adam Cole go from here after delivering, as Terrell said in the chat, a super kick party to not only Finn Balor but his own compadre, Kyle O'Reilly?
Obviously he's going to feud with Kyle, but I see him going back after the title. I don't know if it's going to be a triple threat feud, but the reason I got so excited was because I've been saying it since the last time Kyle fought Finn Balor. The Undisputed Era has been around since 2017, that NXT Takeover after SummerSlam. They've done everything they need to do. They've won all the titles. They've been on top. Adam Cole had that really long run as the NXT champion. And I started feeling like they were getting stale as it is. I'm like, I feel like the only reason they were keeping them together was so they could have a team for War Games to face another team. And I remember when Kyle was feuding with Finn, I'm like, I just want Adam Cole to screw Kyle out of the title shot. Like, that's the best story. Like, he's jealous that Kyle's getting title shots. And it has been times where we felt like some of the Undisputed Era members were baby faces while the others were heels. It's been weird. So this was beautiful. Like, I got excited. When they came out and they posed and it seemed like Finn was going to join them, I was like, I don't know how much I really like this. But when Adam Cole with the super kick, the perfect person to do it. Like Adam Cole is way better as a bad guy. I'm loving it, and I'm glad that he kicked Kyle too. And I'm looking forward to see where it goes. I'm hyped. Adam Cole, baby, he's back.
So with that said, Mr. Dope Kicks himself, do you think that Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly is a top-notch, I guess, feud to bring back the interest in NXT? And then where does Finn Balor play into that? Because it's not going to be a triple threat match between the three, is it?
No, I don't think so. So honestly, I think it's definitely a feud that can bring a lot of interest back because they spent this past 4 or 5 months building up Kyle O'Reilly as an independent star. And so the thing about it is, even after he finished that last feud with Finn, it felt weird for him going back and joining the Undisputed Era because it was like, dude, you're no longer the second person on the totem pole. Like you're damn near up there with Adam himself. You put on an amazing match. You damn near beat Finn. So now he gets to actually prove himself and do a match with Adam. They can probably go for a couple series as we see with NXT. They don't just do one-offs. They usually do a series of these. So I kind of feel like we're going to see a couple matches between these guys that's going to go on for a moment. It's going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be hard hitting and it's going to be dope as hell because that's the way Kyle likes to wrestle. Now, as far as your second question, what was the second question, Nice?
Do you think would it be a triple threat match? Where does Finn go?
No, I don't think so because I don't think Finn's done with what you call it.
He done.
Yeah.
Crossing fingers.
I don't think Finn's done with them because legit, as I was watching this match tonight, I was legit surprised that they did just straight all the way through because I was for sure where's Pat McAfee at? This is his boy right now. This is his crew. And I was just where the fuck's Pat at? So I feel like they're not done yet because I think they're going to end this with Pete Dunne getting that belt. And there's going to be some Pat McAfee interference coming in the future. So I think Finn's still going to be fielding with those guys going forward. So I'm looking forward to it because right now we got two dope feuds. We got Adam and Kyle, and we got potentially Pete Dunne with Pat McAfee in his corner going after Finn next, and he might lose that belt.
That's we got Pingle coming in. Pingle coming in saying, stopping by real quick. Thought it was an overall solid takeover. I'll go with a B plus. And that's without me fully watching the main event. He's cooking over there with him and his lady. Shout out to Miss and the Mrs. Pingles over there.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy V-Day to
Relationship goals.
Owning businesses and cooking dinner, baby. Owning businesses and cooking dinners. We did not talk about Swan and Dreamer yet because we are talking about NXT Takeover. Look, it's a lot going on in the rest of the professional wrestling realm with the door being not only kicked wide open, not only bust through wide open, but somebody took a bazooka and shot that down. And it is no longer a door. It's a hallway. And that instantly reminds me of Ludacris. Holes never close. They open like hallways. But that's another story for another time. But yeah, so I think, guys, look, my opinion on this, I was really excited, honestly, when Finn Balor was about to throw up the Undisputed thing, because that would have really put Undisputed versus the Bullet Club.
Yeah,
that would have really established that. And I know that's something as wrestling fans, and we all know, you may not like Raw. If you don't like SmackDown, I think you're stupid. But NXT is the premier WWE brand. When it's hot, it is the best wrestling brand in the world. When it's cold, it's not the best, but they still put on the great matches. So right now it's cold. And if I would have saw Finn Balor stand next to them, I just would have been like, oh my God, I can't wait till Finn comes and just wreck. I can't wait till Kevin Owens comes down to NXT and just wreck shop against them. That was where my mind was going, because I still think they need Kevin Owens down in NXT to really make it a competitive brand, right, against AEW. So, but let's start off with a hot match with the women's tag team match. We had Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. Personally, this match stole the show for me. They gave it their all, and it was, I thought, I looked at the watch, I was like, oh, what is this? I think I'm gonna get the official time. I felt like it was going on forever and I didn't want it to end, but the official time was 17 minutes and 40 seconds. It was actually not the shortest match. The women's title match was the shortest match.
It was the better out of the two women's matches.
It was fantastic. And we also saw the ramp going straight to the ring on this. So, Mr. Dope Kicks, back to you. Mm-hmm. Tell us what you thought of this match, and did the right team win? Because I know we did our predictions about this, and I can't remember who we picked, but did the right team win for you?
Yes, big time. Because the thing about it was that, like, as I was watching this match was phenomenal. Like, one, they brought the physicality, they brought the storytelling. Like, it low-key reminded me of like a New Japan match. Like, it was like so many like false finishes and kickouts. I was like, gosh damn. And then they were like jumping off everything. I was like they're going all fucking out. And the cool thing about it too, though, is I love the storytelling here, because it wasn't traditional like, oh, the heels are going to beat down the baby faces type deal. They were both like going back and forth, because there's a point in time where the faces, Shotzi and Ember, were working over Dakota's knee like they were heels, like Randy Orton type shit, where they were just working it over it. And also shout out to Dakota, because she's not wearing the knee brace anymore, so I'm guessing that knee's gotten a lot stronger. So like, good to see that for Dakota. Shout out to her. And then it was also weird because with the color scheme as well, because from a visual standpoint, you had your baby faces wearing like all the black and everything like that, and your heels are all wearing like the white, the bright reds and blues. And so it was this weird dichotomy, but it worked because it was an interesting match. Because it wasn't that traditional like heels beat you down, baby faces like turn the tide, get the 1, 2, 3. It was dope because you literally didn't know who was going to win throughout this whole thing. So honestly, yeah, I agree. This is my second favorite thing on the show tonight. I'm happy they won, and I'm super looking forward to when they go against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the tag team championships. Because as you see, they've been building up Raquel Gonzalez. So see her get in the ring with Nia Jax, they can have some fun.
So with that said, actually, Justin, do you think that is actually going to be Nia Jax versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota, or somebody else going to get those titles before they get their title shot? And is Raquel Gonzalez going to be women's champion by the end of the year? Because that's what it feels like.
I definitely think, even when I watched the women's title match on this show, I'm like, no disrespect to Toni Storm, I think the ship sailed on her, and Mercedes is not there yet. But I think Raquel is going to be the one. Raquel is going to be the one that will be the women's champion by the end of this year. Now, to you guys' point, like, I really enjoyed this match on both sides. Like, it could have went either way with Ember and Shotzi, or Dakota and Raquel, and I think that's what made this match so much better. It was believable that either team could win, and they both have such great strengths. Like, I personally am a little disappointed in the fact that I feel like Shotzi never gets to win anything important, but that's okay, because she's still going to be Shotzi. And I'm happy that Dakota and Raquel won, because they are a little bit more of a traditional tag team. Like, they've been partnering for a while. They've been a unit for a longer period of time. It makes sense that the more experienced unit would go over a team that was kind of thrown together for this tournament. Do I think they're going to face Nia and Shayna? I forgot that the winners of this get a women's title match, and it's against those women. But what are the other options? Is it going to end up being Naomi and Lana? Because I don't know if I want it to be like, I want Naomi and Lana to win the tag titles, but I don't necessarily know if I want to see Dakota and Raquel versus Naomi and Lana, not because of Naomi, but more on Lana's ability of what she can do. And then on the other flip side, you can talk about maybe Sasha and Bianca, but I just think it's way too close to put the belts back on Sasha again, even though we just did that long run with Bayley. So I think Nia and Shayna continue to hold the belts. We get Dakota and Raquel. I don't know who would play the baby faces in that sense. It probably would be Dakota and Raquel because they're coming from NXT. Mm-hmm. And I also like the whole idea of like a face-off with Raquel and Nia Jax face-to-face. There's something to that. While you have like Shayna and Dakota, who have a history in NXT as it is, getting some back and forth. So I'm with it. I don't know if Raquel and Dakota end up winning the belts, but I'm with it.
Well, yeah. I think it'll be very disappointing if they don't win the belts. And the women's tag team belts need to be on NXT. Period. Yeah. I think that's where it needs to live. That's where it's going to get its shine. Tony says Kai seems like a major weak link, and that's really crazy to me because I understand why people may think that in this match, but at the same time, Dakota Kai is fantastic. And that just shows the level of woman talent that they have in NXT, that Dakota Kai seems like the weak link. I honestly think Dakota Kai needs to be on the main roster like yesterday. But to your point about, you brought up Sasha and Bianca Belair. We all know how WWE likes putting the titles on odd bedfellows and breaking up people, and just to give the storyline a little more oomph. If we didn't get a glimpse of that on Friday night, I mean, guys, again, if you're not watching the greatest 2-hour wrestling television show on the planet, SmackDown, with the head chief of the table, Roman Reigns, then I don't know what you're doing with your life and your wrestling time. But we seen that on Friday, and I know we're not going to discuss SmackDown. I think that's a major match. Sasha and Bianca versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez at Raquel Gonzalez at Fastlane for the women's tag team titles. That's a major match, and that will put them on a big prime spotlight, which could also lead to a 2-night WrestleMania match at WrestleMania with the women's tag team titles with Dakota and Raquel. It's big, man. I think it's something big, and I really, really look forward to it. But the next match we had to follow that was Johnny Gargano versus Kashida. Now, if Pinga was here, he would call him Jean Sheeta. I believe that's what he called him because he wrestles in jeans. Mr. Dope Kicks, why hasn't Kashida won the title yet since he's been there? Why?
Well, I think the reason why is because this match had two purposes. Mm-hmm. One, it was to show people how dope Kashida is, because he's been on the show for so long because of injuries and whatnot. And it was to put him against somebody who could bring out the full potential and show how great Kashida actually is. But the second reason for this match and the win was so Johnny Gargano could actually have a nice title reign. Because for a while, Johnny was suffering from that whole, I hold it for a month and then I lose it or whatnot. So then I was trying to give Johnny a legit title reign where he's going to hold him to the belt for a while, it looks like, as a heel. So I think that was the double purpose of this match and everything like that. And honestly, it worked for me because, again, this was another match that the chemistry was totally off of what you expect. Because he's supposed to come out with Austin Theory, who somehow got fucking kidnapped at the beginning of the match, which that shit was hilarious. That shit was going, I was
he was like,
I gotta be real. Austin Theory, he's got some stuff going on outside the ring, but the shit he's doing on screen is fucking hilarious. Him and Johnny are low-key comedy gold, and he's really acting and selling some stuff. So I give him credit, though. This shit's hilarious. But so when he goes into the match tonight, the thing about it is, Johnny's at a disadvantage, and Kushida's the aggressor. And the thing about it is, even though Kushida's the babyface here in the scenario and Johnny's the heel, Kushida was the aggressor through most of this. And just he said, hey, remember New Japan when Liger passed the torch to Kushida? Then he lost the belt 3 weeks later? This is somehow worse. But yeah,
I read that and it made me laugh.
Right. I would I agree. It's what they're doing, what The Way is doing off screen or out of the ring rather. It's very entertaining and very funny. And I think that's the reason why we keep Johnny Gargano with the title. But I would have asked you, Justin, where does Kashida go from here? Does he go for the title again? What do we do with the quote unquote time splitter with Marty McFly? Where does he go? What do we do?
I have no idea. I didn't think he was gonna win the belt by any means. In all the predictions I did in the past week, I'm it's gonna be Gargano. Gargano, I haven't been the biggest fan of his heel run, but this whole way thing has been working. It's been some of the most entertaining stuff that we've seen on NXT on a weekly basis. I don't know. I have no idea what happens to Kashida. Does he go after the belt again? What's the next takeover? Is it the WrestleMania one?
Yeah, the last. This should be the last takeover before Mania.
I don't know. Maybe Gargano's going to be in a match with multiple men defending that title or something, because he's going to have a target on his back. I don't know where he goes. I have absolutely no idea, but I don't want to see him on the main roster. I'll tell you that much. I don't want to see him live.
Now, you said main roster. Pingle just said a bunch of main roster guys was hyping up Kashida on Twitter right after this match.
Where is he?
I find it very interesting. Now, I know people are, they don't want to go the whole xenophobic route and have a Japanese faction, but imagine if Kashida and Shinsuke had a tag team or a faction together.
They definitely could, but
you know what I'm saying?
I think a manager then. They need someone to speak for them.
Have Kashida join the table, the family, with Paul Heyman. Have that. Have him be an enforcer for Roman Reigns.
Get Shinsuke out of the tag team title picture? Like, didn't we just get him free from that?
I mean, we did. I think. Well, we know Shinsuke is a face now, but what I'm saying is, I think personally, Kashida needs to be a heel. Also, Tony says, find Kashida a good tag team partner because he doesn't seem to like solo. To be a solo champ. Well,
other than Shinsuke, who would you think on the main roster would be a good tag team partner for Kashida?
Go ahead. You got one? Dope kicks.
I'm thinking. Go ahead.
So I want him on SmackDown because again, it's the best 2-hour wrestling show on the planet. And I know Tony ratings say otherwise, but you watch it. It is the most consistent, most concise, storyline driven, top to bottom. Every segment seems important. It feels good. It's no crazy production like mishaps. It's a very, very good television show for 2 hours of your entertainment. And I think he should be on SmackDown. I think his tag team partner should probably be Sami Zayn.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking Sami. I was thinking about who else. It wouldn't be Apollo.
Pingo says Gable. Yeah, you guys put who do you think Kushida's tag team partner?
Gable would be fine. Like in that little Gable Academy.
The Gable. Oh, Kushida and Gable Academy would be great. Somebody said Riddle.
Yeah.
The Kush brothers.
Oh, that's just fun.
Yeah, that's creative.
But that means they'll be on Raw. And guys, let's be honest, who watches Raw?
I still think, and I don't want to be like beating the same horse every week, but why just scrap 205 Live, put the cruiserweights back on there. It's all good. You got 3 hours. You can barely fill it as it is.
Well, let's not ruin the greatest 1 hour of wrestling on television, okay? Let's not ruin that by putting it on Raw. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. But let's move on because you just Parker, you're getting too happy over there. Let's move on. We had the finals of the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic with MSK defeating the grizzled young veterans. I always call them the grizzled young vets. I didn't even know they said veterans until today. I was like, why?
I didn't either. Grizzled young vets.
It sounds weird, just veterans. Like just grizzled
young
vets.
It makes them seem older, and they're not that old.
They're not.
You say I don't know why you can still get away with it, but if it's veteran, they're older. Like
right, yeah, grizzled young vets. But we seen the must see kids were must see. And they won. Honestly, it stands for must see kids.
I still didn't figure it out. I still didn't know.
So only reason I found out is because they said it on the pre-show, and they were like the must see kids, and I was like, MSK. Oh, duh.
The pre-show.
Finally.
Oh, the pre-show. Yeah, we're definitely gonna get to the
I forgot about that too for a second.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the pre-show, but yes, the MSK, man, they came in. Not only did they win the whole thing, but they're only been in a company for like a month. Guys, let's start with the Wrestling Classic. MSK, are they wrestling on a WrestleMania card?
Oh, I don't know about that. That's a good question. I think because NXT WrestleMania is gonna be 2 nights this year. Like this would be the perfect year to like showcase NXT on WrestleMania. Like, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of main roster matches and stuff, but like I think the women will be involved in the tag team title match from NXT. I still think someone like Finn's gonna defend the NXT title at WrestleMania. I'm not against it. I think MSK going after the NXT tag titles out of WrestleMania. I know they're doing a takeover before, but I'm with it. I kept predicting MSK. I felt like they were trying to build a new tag team here, so I'm happy about it. The one thing that stood out to me the most during this entire match was that really cool diving outside the ring doomsday device that they pulled off. That was a sweet move. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to be on the WrestleMania card, but I'm not against it. And I really like MSK from what I've seen from them so far. Like it feels fresh. No disrespect to the grizzled young vets or Lorcan and Birch or the Undisputed Era, but MSK brings like this fresh tag team feel to the tag team division. And
Matthew with the zinger.
That's true too, but it feels fresh, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fact.
So Parker, Matthew with the zinger. Do you think MSK. One, do you think MSK is really gonna make a run for these tag team titles? And two, can MSK or where does the grizzled young veterans go after losing 2 times in a row in the finals of the Dusty's Tag Team Classic?
Well, one, I think they're definitely going for those tag team belts because the thing about it is those that like they're hot, and the dope thing about it is those that like they're an attraction. They're really bringing that Wednesday night audience. It's really going to AEW right now. So the way they wrestle and how entertaining it is can really bring in some eyes to them. So they're hot. So they're definitely going to put them in that tag team picture and put some eyes on them. Now the Grizzly Young Veterans, like I low key am getting a vibe here that we're going to see like an ongoing feud, and the Grizzly Young Veterans are going to go like more of that darker heel turn and everything like that, and get a lot more aggressive and abusive in the ring. And I can see us having a triple threat match for those tag team belts at some point. So I can see that happening, going with those old school vibes of DIY with was it the Altars of Pain? Say it again.
American Alpha.
American Alpha.
Oh, those are the revival when they had that
revival, yeah.
Yeah, that's sick bastard. So I can see us getting something like that because the Grizzly Young Veterans, even though they lost tonight, they showed me some stuff that I hadn't seen from them before. They're usually a ground and pound team, but honestly, the aerobatics they were doing, and I was like, you can do that? Holy shit! And you just, again, it looked clean, it looked dope, and nobody was getting hurt. And I was like, I want to see more of you guys. But again, I want to see like some more aggression in the ring and go for that darker heel turn, which I think would fit them a lot better. And honestly, the homie's getting better on the mic. Like that whole coming out talking shit used to get annoying to me. But tonight when he came out, it was like, you can shove it up your ass. I was like, all right, this motherfucker's here now. He's serious. Let's go. All right, he's going to work. So honestly, like I'm all on board for it. I would like to see this go on again, ending in a triple threat match between all of them.
Nash Carter, I think he has star written all over him. And somebody said Justin said American Alpha. And it reminded me when I seen Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, and I was like, okay, they're both stars, but Jason Jordan is that guy once he finds it. When Nash Carter was on the ring and his teammate was getting West was getting beat the hell up, and he was just pacing the ring, not even touching the ropes and just scowling and just trying to get in. That's the little nuanced difference thing that just makes a star to me. Like it's though, because that means you're locked in. Like you're not waiting you're not counting, you're not waiting for your spot. Like you're literally locked in. And these guys, Pingo says, the Grizzly Young Vets are the tag team we wanted Revival to be. Yeah. And we see that. We see that now. But also, they're British and they're it's a different swag to them. Like it's a whole different thing when they come out and they're strong. So last question before we move on from this. The reason why I said, are they on the WrestleMania card? Because the tag team division on the main roster has been trash. And you look at it like, and I'm being completely honest, since the Usos and the New Day broke up, there has been no major tag team that you feel like, besides the Street Profits, but they don't even have the belt. The Street Profits don't even have the belts on them anymore, right? So it's like they need an interjection in the men's tag team division. And you look at NXT, that's the only team to me that's going to actually put asses in seats. That's going to actually put eyes on the screen, I guess, in 2021, right? Like, is MSK.
The problem with it is, though, is that I agree with you, but the only reason why I don't see it working just quite yet is because you're absolutely right. The tag team division on the main roster is pretty much non-existent, but the problem with there is you can't send them MSK by themselves. You got to send them with other people. Like, if you're going to sit up there, reminiscent of like, you remember when they put that injection to the women's division and they sent Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte all at the same time? You pretty much got the exact same thing. You got to send like 3 tag teams like all at the same time to do a major injection in there and go right into like a major like tag team warfare type deal and actually stick to it and actually give them television time. But that's the thing though, MSK could definitely work on the main roster because, as I said, like a couple weeks ago when they 3 weeks ago when they first debuted, it was like, ooh, y'all giving me like Hardy's vibes a little bit. Not quite there yet. To give me the vibes though, where it's like I want to buy the merch. But the thing about it is, but people forget though that when it came down to why the Hardys were so good, is who they got to compete against. They were competing against Edge and Christian, another great tag team, like who again you argue one of the best of the decade. The Dudley Boys, the ones we did best of the decade. So the thing about it is though, you can send them there, but you gotta make sure you send them with somebody like to go against. And the dope thing,
APA,
like what you say?
There's APA.
Yeah, exactly. APA too, exactly. Was there at the time, exactly. So the dope thing about it is that you do have the ruminations there of some dope tag teams because the New Day is still there, the Street Profits are already there, but you need a few more in order to make this a real tag team division, so we actually have some good competition going on.
Can NXT sacrifice any tag teams? Because even in this tournament, how many actual tag teams were in it?
I think honestly, the one tag team that they should sacrifice and that will get these people on the main roster and that could end up, splitting up during the next draft is Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher.
Oh,
that's a team, that's a tag team that should go to the main roster right now and have a run as a tag team and then split up during the draft and then go their separate ways.
I was trying to think because I'm like, our tag team champions on Raw are bad guys because of the Hurt Business. No, tag team champions on SmackDown are bad guys.
Yep.
But I'm like, I wouldn't even be against the Grizzled Young Vets showing up on the main roster.
Yeah.
But it's just two bad guy teams, so like we need like a big, like if the Street Profits won the belts back and then the Grizzled Young Vets showed up, then that'd be something different,
That's why I think MSK but to Johnny's point, I think they should go up with it should be a group of tag teams that go up together. Like
but
they
when
did
he said, I was just concerned, like, is there enough tag teams on NXT itself though?
They had like 16. They had 16 tag teams.
Yeah, but a lot of those were those those mixing the strange bedfellow tag teams,
but that's the perfect way to get those characters introduced on the main roster.
Yeah,
I guess that's fair.
Like, it needs to be on the main roster.
The whole Ricochet Alistair tag teams like experience pissed me off. So I don't know if I want to see that again.
It was actually a great tag team once they really
but look what happened to both of them after that ended. No one ever like recovered from it. If Alistair and Ricochet came up as single stars and did their thing, it would have been a whole different story.
Yeah.
Ricochet is isn't he a former US champion? Ricochet is
good for Ricochet. Where is Alistair Black? Where's Alistair Black? Great for Ricochet. Where's that Ricochet? He's even on TV as our main event again.
Hey, main event is a big show. What were you gonna say?
They have some solid matches on there. Ken and Jam's, not gonna lie.
Honestly, they could lose a couple because here's the thing: if you send up MSK, you send up the Grizzled Young Vets, and you send up like somebody else, like say Thatcher and Ciampa or whatever. The thing about it is though, we got that young tag team who actually wanted to see win. What was homie's name? Apollo? What's that dude's name? Who we wanted to see? Who wears the brother Neeson?
Oh, Ashanti. Adonis.
Like Adonis is like, you got some talent there. The good thing about NXT is they keep hiring people. And so the cool thing about it is if you saw those three tag teams up there, they build people really well. Like this is the weird thing about it is like anytime NXT loses somebody, I'm always like, oh, but then 2 weeks later, I'm like, who the fuck is that?
That's I think you're right. They always have people in development. I just have the stupidest idea in my head, and I'm just gonna throw it out there because it's stupid, but it goes back to the whole Kashida having a tag team partner. Obviously, we're gonna have to wait a little bit. Like we're probably gonna have to wait a couple of months, so we'll see how long it goes for.
Oh, I know you're going.
But could you imagine? No. How do you know? Could you imagine? Could you imagine we had Kashida tag team with Reginald?
Oh, no, I thought you were gonna say Gargano. Okay, Reginald.
No, but Kashida and Reginald as a tag team on SmackDown.
No, but I will say this. I think we're about to have. They're trying to slightly hint towards a Reginald and Kalisto.
Really?
Match. Yes. So
good.
I mean, Kalisto and Sasha are best friends, clear. But every time now when we're seeing Sasha backstage, we're seeing her with Kalisto. Not only that, when she went to the NASCAR thing this weekend, she was with Kalisto. And they made sure they showed her with Kalisto. And so I think it's gonna be this thing of Reginald and Carmella with Sasha and Kalisto moving towards in between the Bianca and all that. I'm for it if it gets Carlito on Kalisto on Carlito.
Yeah, Carlito.
if it gets Carlito on TV more, if it gets Kalisto on TV more, I'm all for it, man, because we forget Salida del Sol was the guy. Just like 5-6 years ago. But I do want to say Tony brought up in the chat, what about Austin Theory and Gargano going up as a tag team? Look, I've been on here last year, 2 years ago, whenever that Evolve show was, and I said Austin Theory is the future WWE champion. He is the next John Cena. Now, Austin Theory messed up his own, and he's gonna have some setbacks and he's gonna have some other hurdles to climb. Everybody makes mistakes. And he's gonna have to, repent for that and climb back up. But let's not forget, he was on a WrestleMania card last year, and he would have been on that card with or without a crowd. So they definitely believe in him.
On that note, I also really want Andrade and Garza to just get back together because that's another team.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that'd be dope. They should have stayed together. And to be honest with you, Austin doesn't need to move up too soon right now because here's the thing: Austin's growing with Gargano. Like he's learning heel chops and comedy chops and these just like storytelling, acting chops that he didn't have before. This is actually really fucking good for him because the other thing about Austin too is Austin's fucking young. Homie's like what 20, 23 or something like that.
22 or 23, yeah.
He's young, yeah.
Whole career ahead of him, and he definitely will be on the main roster. And I agree with you. He's like, homie's a world champion someday, but right now, this is the best place for him because he's learning under all these people, and he's going to develop. And the thing about this is, we already know the storyline that's going to happen with the way they're going to break up, and he's going to have an amazing fucking maybe 5-star match with Johnny Gargano. That's going to tear the house down, and that's where
he's going to take that belt from Gargano. That's the way it should be.
What'd you say?
That's the way it should be. Theory takes the belt from Gargano, or Dexter Lumis takes the belt from Gargano, and now he has to go. You know, he blames Austin Theory, and then it's just the Austin Austin Theory.
Johnny's boy Cameron Grimes is on a whole new level these days with all of his money.
Cameron Grimes.
So maybe it'll be him.
Everything tonight.
Where's Cameron Grimes been at? Where's he been?
Is he in the video package tonight?
No, I didn't see it.
He was dancing in his money and like laying in it and buy a pool with money everywhere.
He made money off the GameStop stock. He was up there making a rank.
Oh, yo, that's hilarious.
There was a whole video package of Cameron Grimes tonight, man. The guy's made money. He's more money than Leo Rush.
Well, speaking of making money, guys, we have newly signed talent to NXT. Eli Drake, now known as LA Knights.
LA Knight.
Now, I can't remember when Tyra's party was that I went to. I had a nice long conversation with Eli Drake, and he was in this place of he didn't know what he wanted to do next. And this was the last place I thought I was going to see Eli Drake actually pop up on was NXT. But now that Eli Drake is on NXT, or I'm sorry, LA Knights is on NXT, where do you think he fits in? What do you think his purpose is? Because this just reminds me a lot of Bobby Roode going to NXT, and I, as much hype as it had behind it, was not a fan. The Wrestling Classic.
Eli Drake versus Kashida, because we don't know what to do with him. I don't know. I don't know. Does he start managing Cameron Grimes with all of his money now? Becomes his business manager? I don't know.
Hey, that's an idea.
Because he came in there like he was like Ari Gold from Entourage. He doesn't seem like he's playing a is he or does he start fighting with Robert Strauss over clients? Like I don't know where this goes.
Or Malcolm Bivens. First of all, Malcolm Bivens needs more screen time. Man, give Malcolm Bivens screen time. I'm gonna start a hashtag.
I don't know. Screen time. Overall, like I'm glad he's there because I don't know where he would have fit in anywhere else. Like Impact is where he was at, but whatever. NWO is where he's at, but whatever. AEW, like they all have their own things going on. He'll fit with NXT. NXT is a place where they could use people for sure. Some new fresh faces because Gargano, the Undisputed Era, all of them have been there forever. Some fresh new faces, great. I don't know how I feel about the name though. LA Knight, like
LA Knight,
it's terrible.
I don't know. It reminds me of Las Vegas Knights. LA is a different area, I know, but it's just like I don't know how I feel like LA. Are we gonna just call him LA? Why don't you just call him Eli Knight or something? Like I don't know. Like
yeah, and I just looked at that too. And the funny thing about it is because I was like, that sounds like a team name. I swear I've heard that before, and I just googled it. It was the team name of the basketball team little Bow Wow played on, and like Mike, they were the LA.
It was LA.
I think that was the way to like tease the fact that he's gonna manage Bow Wow.
Oh my god!
This is amazing. He'll come on with the shoes and everything. I'm on board this.
Bow Wow is signing. Bow Wow is NXT, guys. We just broke the news. Bow Wow is NXT.
He's gonna take a picture from the ring. Bow Wow challenge. I'm in NXT. I do like the dude because he has a lot of mic skills, and the reason why I like him going down to NXT is because again he kind of like people have accused him of this before, of pretty much being like ripping off The Rock in a way. and you kind of seeing his delivery and everything. But the thing about it is that he does understand how to work the mic. And so going down to NXT allows him to work with all those people in the Performance Center, be a great coach, and be that transitional like kind of guy down there. So I see his potential. I feel like they got another experienced veteran down there who can work with a lot of the people they're developing or they're signing from other industries. So I think it's a good sign. And honestly, he's a brother do working, so that's good too.
And he is a bit on the older side, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing you might
is.
be put in that managerial role, kind of like, you know, it could work in that sense.
Yeah, he could be a coach down there as well. He could be, you know, a trainee, whatever they call him. But I one thing I do think, as far as on the mic, he definitely can handle his own. I mean, in the ring as well. But NXT needs people to talk eyes to screens, right? Like they need it right now. And we saw in the pre-show, if one thing he could do, he can talk. And he put down Ray. What he said, Ray Brady was like, I may drag your ass out of retirement to beat your ass back into retirement. I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
He was on the hero with The Rock. Oh, I do remember that. I remember that show that The Rock had called The Hero. And yes, Bow Wow does want to be a wrestler. He wants Bad Bunny versus Bow Wow at WrestleMania. Yeah, he actually tweeted that, and he said he's quit rapping and he's going to train to be a wrestler.
Oh, he's like one more album in him, and then he's going to pursue his dream of becoming a professional wrestler.
Guys, this is real. Go to Bow Wow's Twitter. He definitely tweeted this. It's real life. This is the life we're living in.
I don't know if I'm older, but I can't. If I think of Bow Wow, I just imagine the kid. I keep forgetting, like he's probably like a grown man now. Like,
oh, not probably. He's a grown ass man.
Yeah. He's got water and everything.
I don't think he's like a kid in my head always.
He's a grown ass man. All right, so let's get to the women's title match, the triple threat match between Io Shirai, Toni Storm, and Mercedes Martinez. Now, I just want to give this to Parker because his girl, Io Shirai, retained in the shortest match of the night, 12 minutes and 13 seconds.
To keep it real, I don't know why they turned the song off because it was that fast. It was like the moment they just started right back. I was like, oh, that shit was quick as hell. But the thing about it is that props to him. It was good. It was a good match and everything like that. And I'm always excited to see Mercedes get some love because she is a 20-year vet and everything like that. But honestly, again, I'm excited for Io. She's having this amazing historic run, but it kind of feels like they don't know what to do with her right now, to be honest with you. Like, it feels like they're not exactly sure how they like who's she going to go up against and everything. And it feels like they're kind of biding their time. Like, again, we talked about this before. In the last 2 months leading up to the Royal Rumble, they kind of like waiting in the water, waiting for the shit to kick off on the road to WrestleMania. But with Io, it's like, all right, guys, who are you going to pull the trigger on? Because right now she's kind of running a rough shot. She beat Rhea so bad that Rhea's going to the main roster. So the thing about this was that who is she going to go against with his belt? We thought it was going to be Raquel Gonzalez, but then they threw Raquel and Dakota into this tag team tournament, and now they're going to be occupied there. So it's like, all right, so what does she do? So I'm happy she got the belt. The thing about it is that she needs another good feud to keep this legacy going strong. And right now, this match that we had tonight, again, it's kind of put like something put together, kind of like the weight in the water and whatnot. So maybe after this, she goes against Toni Storm again. And maybe they put on a more epic and more intense match.
All right. So with that said, do you think the Wrestling Classic, that is there any chance that the Bianca Belair will challenge Io Shirai at WrestleMania?
Not at all. Not at all. The writing's on the wall. It's Sasha versus Bianca. That's all it's going to be. I don't... to that person's attire maybe versus Io, that could be a thing. There's a handful of things that went through my mind during this match. First things first, I miss Poppy doing Io's entrances for takeovers. Second, Mercedes saying that she did not want to be part of Retribution is probably the greatest thing she did for herself, because I like her here way better than her being a part of whatever is happening over there. 3, I personally do think the ship has sailed on Toni Storm's momentum. I just don't feel that much about her as I did prior to, like, say, a year or two ago. 4, this match was decent at best. It wasn't the greatest. It was good. The right person won. 5, who does she go against next? I'm always talking about how there's so many women on NXT. There's so many women on NXT. There's, there's all these girls. There's Ember, there's Shotzi, there's Dakota, there's Raquel, there's Kaden and Casey. There's all these women, but I don't know who's actually, like, other than Raquel, who was in this tournament, and then maybe Ember, which I also don't care about to see face. I don't know who's going to go up against her next. Like, I don't. And then, like, Do we know the timeline of when Tegan Nox is coming back? Because I'm okay with that. Can we get that to happen? Because otherwise, I don't know. Like, I don't know where she goes from here. Like, the Io Shirai title run is kind of getting stale to me. I'm kind of getting bored with it. I like Io. I want her to keep succeeding, but it's almost like the situation. Like, I started getting bored of the Becky title run until they made her run into someone like Asuka. I was like, oh, let's see how this goes. There just needs to be an opponent or someone that injects like the life back into the run, whether Io keeps the belt or not. That's just my opinion.
Okay, so that's actually a great topic. One, let's just talk about you're besmirching the name of Tony the Slug Storm here. Just besmirch the name. And yes, Tegan Nox. We all know my opinions on Tegan Nox and how great I think she is. I don't even want to see her back in NXT. I want her again on the main roster.
Fair enough.
Yesterday.
Fair enough.
She is incredible and needs to be on the main roster. But yeah, don't besmirch the name of Tony the Slug Storm. Yeah, so with that said, who if we're looking at the landscape of NXT and Io Shirai ran through NXT, like there all the names you named, she beat. Who do we look at? Do we look at somebody over at Raw? Do we look at somebody over at SmackDown? Or yeah, but who?
Asuka? Did she lose the belt and come fight Io?
That's what I mean. Honestly, if we're talking about a tag team, I want to see the reuniting of Asuka and Io Shirai winning the women's tag team championships and running roughshod and dancing and being just in full Japanese wrestlers at killers as they are and just having fun, because at the end of the day, no one's ready for Asuka.
I think we're going to get that when she goes to the main roster, because I think Io's pretty much almost done. Like, you feel the writing on the wall now. It's like, I've grown bigger than this place. I got a fan base behind me. Like, despite the language barrier, I got the juice. It's the same thing we saw with Shinsuke and with Asuka. It was like, oh yeah, Io, it's time for you to go. So
the writing, that's the feeling. That's the feeling I have. I think just Io's done. Like,
yeah. So it's gonna be like Asuka did, where she's gonna give the flower, like it's gonna be a send off.
Yeah, I think so, because here's the thing, because as I was going through my mind, I was like, all right, who could challenge her and would be a dope match? I was thinking like Charlotte. No, fuck that. You already tried that experiment. It failed. Charlotte's a fuck up. We have to do that again. Now you don't want Asuka to go down, because he was going to come up when we get to the main roster. That's just going to be hot fire. And so the person who I was thinking of, who they're low-key building off to the side right now, is, what's the girl's name from China who's coming out with Shang Tsung right now? Xia Li, exactly. I'm like, it might be Xia Li. Because I can see them doing that, because they're building her up right now. She's just getting all these false matches. That's traditionally how you go when you get ready to go for that title shot. So I can see it being them, and she has a faction behind her. And again, so much Shang Tsung back there taking souls, so it could work out. And then the other person is Raquel Gonzalez, but that's going to be a while, because before Raquel gets there, her and Dakota got to go take those tag titles.
You're absolutely right. Xia Li would be that person. I honestly, look, this is why I probably can't work for WWE. At the same time, I should, but I can't, because I will swing for the fences, and I will be like, when Becky Lynch comes back, she's going to NXT and facing Io Shirai and taking the belt off of Io Shirai.
I mean, there was a part of me that wanted Edge to confront Finn at the end of the show. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going big. Like, I'm going big. I'm swinging every single time. It's like I'm doing the unexpected thing that people are not talking about. And like, I would be like, yo, okay, yeah, everybody expects, to come back. Like, she's gonna come back against Asuka or come back against Charlotte or something like that. Nope, she's gonna come to NXT. And she's going to take the title on an open challenge at a takeover and take the title off of Io Shirai and walk on to that next Wednesday, hold it up like the man should. And Io Shirai will go on to Raw or SmackDown, wherever Asuka is, and form that tag team. That's me.
I mean, I agree with you. It's not a bad plan, because we've talked about this before. Just like you mentioned Kevin Owens earlier, they got to send some people down to build up that brand, because think about this, though, they're winning Friday nights. Like Friday Night SmackDown, it's dope. Raw, I know you don't like Raw, but I gotta be real. Raw entertains me sometimes. Sometimes like, this show ain't half bad some days. So Raw seems fine.
It has its moments.
Exactly. So, but it's Raw though. Is that NXT that really sounds like y'all got to win that fucking war. And right now, what's happening over with the wrestling Voltron that's forming more and more every day, and they got Kenta, they just blast you with some shoulder missiles. Like, they are fucking y'all up on Wednesday nights. And so you needed some people down there. So, like, Becky Lynch showing up right there, the man coming through, that could be it. That could be that injection of life they need.
It's almost like they don't even know that they're in a war no more sometimes on NXT. It's like they don't even care. It's like they're just like, whatever. Like, we started this, it was cool at first, we tried competing. We're on SmackDown, so the WWE is such a company to be like, well, overall, all of our products are getting all eyeballs on it, so we don't care. Like, that's their mentality. And then someone bought it, someone sold it, someone bought it, and now they're running with it. That's what happened.
Yeah. WWE is Disney, guys. They are a multimedia company. They're not a wrestling company. So they're not worried or concerned about a quote unquote war. That's for us fans to worry and concerned about, and for you to come on this chat and talk to you about. So before we get out of here, we have to talk about the last match. I know we talked about what happened after, but let's talk about the actual match. And what I'm talking about Finn Balor defeating Pete Dunne for the NXT Championship, and what I will call just I'm gonna bend every limb in your body and beat the shit out of you, and this is not a work. Guys, is this the future of wrestling? Is this style of match the future of wrestling, where we're going? And was it entertaining? I will go with the Wrestling Classic.
It was entertaining. I think there's room for it. I always say the best shows are the ones that come like a buffet and you get a little bit of everything, some high-flying stuff, some hardcore stuff, some traditional old school down dirty wrestling like we got between these two, where they're trying to tear each other's limbs and work on body parts. Like, I enjoyed it. We've been seeing Finn do this a lot now, whether it was with Kyle O'Reilly, whether it was with Pete Dunne, and we've seen a lot of it on NXT with the Timothy Thatcher and like the Ciampa stuff. Like, it is a style that they're actually focusing on there, which I think it's cool. I like that they're trying to bring some of that like shoot Pancras style, like what if wrestling was real aspect to wrestling again. And I'm with it. My question though, like, I really enjoyed the match, but I've been a Pete Dunne fan for years now, like since I first saw him in Progress and stuff. Like, where do they go now? Like, what happens to Pete Dunne, like in that group? Like, if Undisputed Era is getting involved with this, and like Karrion Kross is still looking to get a title shot eventually at some point, like, what happens to Pete Dunne? Does he fight Karrion Kross? Does Finn just fight Karrion Kross and Pete Dunne does something else? Like, where do we go from here? The Undisputed Era is fighting each other now, I think. So
yeah. So Parker, where do we? I know we opened the show. Where do we go from here? But more specifically, Karrion Kross is now about to fight a 205 Live champion with Randall Orton calling him out on Twitter saying, you need to come up to the main roster and get this money with me. If Randall says it, he's definitely, Karrion Kross is going to be there sometime in the near future.
I mean, Randall's been calling out Ciampa for years, and that man's dedicated to NXT for some reason.
Well, I don't think that man is dedicated to NXT. Rather, I think the fact that Vince doesn't see they were supposed to come up as DIY, and that injury really set him back. That's why I think they should come up with Timothy Thatcher, and that will also get him on there. But that's a whole nother thing. So Parker, with Karrion Kross going to 205 Live and then the main roster, basically, and with Finn Balor now going with Adam Cole, with Kyle O'Reilly as well, and the Undisputed Era breaking up, where does that put the brand?
So you mean the brand is a Pat McAfee? You know?
Pat McAfee, Pat McAfee, Orkin, and whatever their names are, and Pete Dunne. Like, where does that put them in this whole scenario? And what do they do next?
So I think as long as you have Karrion Kross off the table and not part of this championship equation, you got a little bit more clearer route here. Because the thing about it is, kind of like I was saying earlier, is that if you bring back Pat McAfee into this, you know he's going to call Finn out. They're going to cut some amazing promos and whatnot, and it's going to lead to like a nice little warfare of like, again, the brand versus like Finn and everything like that. Whereas
War Games is over.
Well, this is true. War Games is over. But again, like, he's going to come back to help his boy out and everything like that, and they're going to interfere, and they're going to take that belt off of Finn. So that's where I kind of see it going next. Is Finn is going to lose his belt, and then we'll kind of like grow from there, and Pete Dunne will get the belt around his waist and everything, and Pat's going to come and interfere and like help get that done. That's my prediction for it anyway.
So you think Pete Dunne is getting a title?
Yeah. Because go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, just because the fact is like they love to do a series of matches. Like we saw Kyle O'Reilly and Finn twice. And the thing about it is that with this one, like you asked earlier, was this entertaining? For me, it was kind of like, because again, I do appreciate this style of match. Because again, I used to love when like I'm not sure we're allowed to say his name, but like when Chris Benoit used to fight like Kurt Angle, they would do some real ground and pound, some amazing technical match. Like this shit's amazing. But the thing about it is though, to Classic's point, I feel like I've seen Finn do this like the last 4 fucking times. And so I'm like, Finn, I kind of want to see you do that more energetic when you're running around the ring style now. Yeah. So I feel like you're going to do another match where we'll see like a different style type and see that happening, but he's going to lose the belt to Pete Dunne then. Because I feel like they got at least 2 or 3 more matches in them.
I don't know why I always want everybody to break up and fight each other. But then when you brought back up Pat McAfee, I'm like, oh, I guess they could somehow go into a route where it's Pat McAfee and Pete Dunne at the next takeover. You know, Pete Dunne can, Pat McAfee can like call up Pete Dunne for not getting the job done and kind of piss off Dunne. Because there's always been a little bit of tension between those two. Like, there's always been this, like, well, Pete Dunne's like, who is this guy? Why is he? You know what I mean? And now he's been gone for a bit. Pete Dunne got the title shot, but he didn't win it. And who's the big mouth that's going to keep reminding Pete Dunne about that?
Well, it was because it was supposed to be Rich Holland, right? Like, it wasn't supposed to be Pete Dunne. It was supposed to be Rich Holland. So, and then his leg snapped, and that was gruesome. Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, overall, it looks like we had a B show for Takeover, a solid show, solid matches. But honestly, everybody's like, I would ask, do you guys want to watch on Wednesday? Yeesh.
I mean, they left us with more questions and answers, but it's not enough for me to be like, I can't figure out what happens after the show airs. I don't know.
Yeah, that was just one of those things where they tried to. You saw it at the end, like after Finn won, and when he was getting beat down, it was like y'all are trying to figure out a way to end this because you have no way to end this right now. That's going to make us tune in on Wednesday, unless Edge comes out and challenge him, like you said earlier. That would have been dope. But the way they did it tonight, it was just like, okay, we're about to get Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, it's dope, but I'm excited for it. Like again, they're great, but it's like, is that made me want to tune in? EO won, and so like, who's EO going to go against next? Like, we barely know, so that's not getting me to tune in. And so, there's not really much to get me to tune in for Wednesday.
Well,
I'm looking forward to SmackDown. SmackDown's always something to look forward to.
That is right. The greatest 2-hour wrestling show on television, which also just happens to lead into the greatest 1-hour wrestling show on television, which is 205 Live. Guys, it's been a pleasure to talk. What?
I just want to say one last thing. For anyone that hasn't for this past week, if you're a SmackDown fan, you actually do tune in SmackDown every week. Watch, like, I haven't watched it for a few weeks, but I watched a couple of the last episodes this morning. But definitely watch Talking Smack. It's really good.
If you pay attention to this show, we rave about Talking Smack, and it is the best promo cutting show on the planet.
Whether it was Sami Zayn hosting with Kayla or now Paul Heyman, like, she always has the proper co-host that just brings that like extra stuff to it. And like this week was Cesaro and Sasha and Sammy. Like, I was watching this morning, I'm like, yo, like the way Daniel Bryan popped in there just got an amazing, funny promo. I'm like, yo, this is like, I hope people aren't missing out on this. I just want to make sure that, like, I hope nobody is missing out on Talking Smack because it's some real good shit. Like,
if you want to hear great promos, watch Talking Smack.
That's all.
But got to get out of here, guys. It's been a pleasure talking NXT Vengeance Day with you guys on the Day of Love, and also, with more importantly, on my brother's birthday. Shout out to them. Happy birthday, Chasen and Tyson. They're twins. They turned 22. And
happy birthday.
Yeah. So get out of here. Before we get out of here, you guys have anything to plug? Justin, let's start with you.
Follow the Wrestling Classic. Click the link in my bio. Everything's there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the TWC show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's also on Dash Radio every Saturday. Got an interview dropping with Ken Shamrock this Tuesday. Be sure to check it out. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff, whether it was Owen Hart ribs, his relationship with the WWE, MMA stuff, his feud with The Rock. So make sure you check that out. And then, that's about it, man. Everything's the hub is the Wrestling Classic. But also make sure you guys are following THS.Wrestling because if you want like updates of what happened on shows right after and stuff, that's all on THS Wrestling. Get our opinions firsthand. So then when you guys come to the show, you can tell us how wrong we are or how right we are. That's what we like to do.
All right, Parker, what you got going, man?
As always, you can find my comics on Johnny P313 on Gumroad. So you go there, you can find all my books. And then you can find anything else I'm doing, like links to my other podcast I do called Disney Plus Diversity. We drop a new episode every Tuesday. It's where we read the Disney catalog, see how diverse and inclusive actually is. And this week, we're excited. We'll be dropping our Cool Runnings episode, as well as the Cinderella episode starring Brandy. So
yes.
2 episodes this week, so check that out. It's a great to wrap up our Black History Month programming.
I was actually going to wish you a happy Black History Month. So happy Black History Month. And to everybody, happy Black History Month. Also, guys, so we dropped our first WandaVision after show, and we had Herb. We interviewed Herb, aka David Payton, that plays Herb, and we had a hell of a time, man. Trust me. I would say watch the interview, listen to the interview, however you want to consume it, because I definitely go after him to try to get answers. I go at him and try to break him. And I would just say, man, he's just such a dope dude, because he took it in stride and he was just like, you're throwing a bunch of bullets at me, man. And he's like, I'm trying to dance. He's like, I was trying to dance away all of them and I just can't. So I'm gonna just be honest with you and just say, I can't answer that right now.
You put him in the hot seat.
Oh, look, if you sit down with me, I'm gonna come straight at you, and we're having a straight conversation. So but we have another one coming up this week. Look, we're on episode 7 in WandaVision, and we're hoping to get more guests from WandaVision each and every week. So please tune into that. You can find it at you can follow me on Stay Fly Life, and then I'd be able to direct you to all those things as well. So before we get out of here, just want to say shout out to Pingo, man. Hope you're having a good time, enjoying your night, and we'll see you guys every Sunday, just like this time. Every Sunday. What next week is Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys right after Elimination Chamber. But until then, please visit that hashtag show for everything trending in geek pop culture. And yes, I did it right for the first time in like 3 years. But see you guys later.